A very good morning to all of you students. Yesterday we had started the poem The Lake Isle of Innisfree. So let's have a quick recap of the poem. I will arise and go not and go to Innisfree, and a small cabin built there of clay and wattles made. 9 bean rows will I have there, a hive for the honey bee, and live alone in the bee loud glade. See, here the poet states that he will rise, he will get up, and soon be going to Innisfree. Innisfree is a small island in a lake called Logill in Sligo County, Ireland. As a young boy, he often went to the island. There, he will build a small wooden shelter in the small opening in the forest, and is going to be quite simple, and he'll have a feeling of countryside. He will make a clay with he'll make a cabin with clay and wattles. So like people do used to do in ancient times. Wattle and uh, clay. Wattle, you all know, small sticks are known as wattles, and clay everybody knows. Where clay is smeared over a frame of interwoven branches, he is going to have a garden with 9 beans planted in a row, and a beehive for honeybees. The poet, tells that he desires to live alone, surrounded only by the sounds made by bees, and be with nature throughout now, after a hectic time in London. Now, second paragraph is, and I shall have some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the vales of the morning to where the cricket sings, their midnights all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and evenings full of the linnet's wings. See, in the first line, it gives a clue that why the poet wants to build a little cabin in an isolated place, and with little habitation. And peace comes dropping slow indicates that he is restless and too busy. Maybe that is why he wants the solitude. He wants to be alone for some time. He wants to be in solitude to break away from the hustle and bustle for an urbanized life, from a hectic schedule. He is going very nostalgic about the morning hour in Ireland. What is nostalgic? Nostalgic means when someone is remembering the good old days, and imagines to be there only. When so he is nostalgic about the morning hour in the island when the daylight breaks in gradually to keep pace with the calm and peace of the quiet countryside. The speaker says that the mist or fog that veils the morning are lifted once the sun rises. When the sun rises, that veil is lifted. The dew, mist, and cloudy look of the morning is vanished once the sun rises. The morning soon is filled with the sound of the crickets chirping in the surrounding. He equates peace to nature. He seems the midnight looks beautiful, with twinkling of stars, million twinkling of stars, and at midday the island seems alight with the purple glow of light. He indicates the blissful calm, the peaceful, siesta that he can enjoy royally, as the sight to behold, as it is filled by flocks of linnets homeward bound. The linnets which were coming back home, coming back to their nests, and now he says that the evening is a sight to behold, as it is filled by flocks of linnets homeward bound. The poet creates an imagery here purple haze full of birds in flight. We are tempted to go there for a stay when he says all such things. Now, third paragraph is I will arise and go now, for always night and day. I hear the lake water lapping with low sounds by the shore. When I stand on the roadway or on the pavement's grey, I hear it in the deep hard score. Now poet is more than ever determined to go ahead with his decision to go to Innisfree. Now he says, yes, I will go now. He imagines that he can hear the lapping of water reaching the shore. When water will be striking to the roadside or shore, the poet is imagining that. The use of auditory image as a metaphor shows his strong desire to get to the place of his dreams. However, he can't be far from Innisfree, as in his mind and heart he hears the lapping of the water hit the shore, and he is actually standing on the parched grey roads in the city, where roads are really hot and cities are congested. The last line confirms that all this is in his imagination. Since the heart cannot actually hear, we might think the deep heart core is a metaphor, as it is speaking of the poet's deepest feeling and dreams. Though he is in the city, his heart and mind are living in Innisfree, because he is highly inspired by this place. He has stayed much time over there, and he has already visualized and already sensed this the beauty of this place. So this was all about the poem, students. Now I'll let you all know the rhyming scheme. The Lake Isle of Innisfree utilizes end rhyme in an ABAB rhyme scheme. This means that the end of the first line of a stanza rhymes with the end of the third line, and the third of the end of the second line of a stanza rhymes with the end of the fourth line. All three of the lines in the Lake Isle of Innisfree display an ABAB rhyme scheme. So, and what is alliteration? Alliteration is the repetition of certain consonants in a poem, which are often used in order to stress a word or phrase. Notice the sound of the consonants I and S in the following line. I hear lake water lapping with the low sounds by the shore. There is an emphasis on the word lapping, low, and shore. Yes. Now, it occurs when the vowel sounds attached to different consonants are repeated in a poem. Notice the sound of the vowels I and O in the following line. I will arise and go now, and go to Innisfree. Assonance is less clear than either scheme or alliteration, but its use is similar. It links important words or phrases in the poem together. Now, imagery is there in this poem. When the poet is saying the evening is full of linnets' wings, midnight's all a glimmer, and noon a purple glow, and then these are the imagery, and these make us think not only of a one bird but also of all of them in flight. Now that's an image. Veils of morning, it's a metaphor for the fog of early morning or the mist. I hear lake water lapping with slow sounds by the shore. These are metaphor. The poet is not really hearing the water. We should think of his auditory image as a metaphor for his strong desire to head to Innisfree. And of course, the heart can't actually hear, so we might think of the deep heart score as a metaphor for the part of the poet that feels and dreams deeply. So here we have a rhyming scheme, then alliteration is there, then assonance is there, and imagery and metaphor. So this was all about the poem, students. Tomorrow we'll discuss the question answers of the poem. Okay, thank you so much and God bless you all.